Hello friends, Molly Pompadith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of the SOAR Community Nebula. We are out in the community interviewing 1,000 change agents this year. That's our goal. And today we have Jessica Lincoln with us. Jessica, thank you so much for being a part of our initiative.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So can you share with our audience who you are and the work that you're currently doing in the world?
Absolutely. So professionally, I own a location of the franchise SpiderSmart Learning Centers. My location is in Ashburn, Virginia, and we specialize in academic enrichment for pre-K through grades 12. So we offer our own unique original curricula for reading and writing and math programs. But we also do SAT preparation, language tutoring, subject tutoring for school, and many other types of lessons for children and school-age teens.
Great. Wow. And how many are there in the country? Is this regional or?
It's a newer brand. We've actually been around since 1989. However, we only became a franchise in 2014.
Oh, wow.
So we've recently started to grow. I've owned my location since 2012. Before then, they were licensed facilities. But then we did franchise, and the growth has been, like you said, really, really exciting. So I think we are up to 32 locations nationwide. They're centered around the national capital area with our headquarters in Tyson's Corner, but we also do have centers in Texas, in Florida soon, New York, Louisiana, California. So we are growing. We even have a center in Canada now.
That's
And of course,
great.
we run an online program as well for international students.
That's fantastic. That's really exciting to have that additional supplement to, our regular school system, which is so important because depending on geographics, right, where you are, what you have access to, it's awesome to have that extra support.
It is, and it's fun for me too. I wouldn't do anything else after being in the academic enrichment field. It's so rewarding. I love working with the families long term because many of our families join us at an early grade level, and they stay with us for many years and continue on to do their SAT preparation and their college application process with us. So it's just fun to be part of the family and to see the kids grow over years.
Oh, that's really neat. All right. So as you look back upon your life, can you share some stories or experiences where a conscious leader, a compassionate, loving, kind soul or souls have come to really support you in your journey and help you live your life the way you do today or shift your way of thinking in a profound way?
Absolutely. And continuing on with SpiderSmart is a great opportunity to talk about something like this. I came to SpiderSmart at a really interesting time in my life. I was 23 and I had graduated from college and gone through graduate school as well. And I had a path that I was really set on for my life. I really wanted to be a dentist my whole life. I just was convinced that that was the field for me. And so I pursued that in my academic career. And I went to graduate school for a subject that I thought would help get me into dental school. And I applied year after year, and I just never got in. I never even got an interview to a dental school, despite having, fine grades and good scores on the pre-dental exam, and having met with the people at dental schools, even the dean of one school. It just, it was what I thought was meant for me, but the universe wasn't having it. And so I decided to take a break from all of that. And I answered a Craigslist ad for a tutor. I had studied math and English and science, and that's what they were looking for. So I went for an interview, and it was for SpiderSmart Learning Centers at their headquarters in Tyson's Corner. And I started teaching for them. And this was just supposed to be a temporary thing for me while I figured out what my next move was. And I was considering maybe pharmacy school at that time or some other kind of medical profession is what I thought I was really supposed to do. And one day, the president of the company, whose name is Jeannie, she works at the Tyson's Corner location, which is, as I said before, our headquarters. And she said to me, Jessica, this tutoring is part-time. What are you planning to do? And I just almost collapsed because I was so frustrated and upset with trying to figure out my path. And she said to me, you know, if you really enjoy this, maybe you should consider opening a center. And I had never thought that I would be a small business owner. I hadn't studied anything about business. I assumed I would own a practice of some sort one day if I did eventually make it in dentistry. But I never considered small business. And I went home and I thought about it, and I realized, you know what? I'm happy every day when I go to SpiderSmart, and I'm happy every day when I leave SpiderSmart. Maybe I should do this. And I didn't think too much about it because at that point I was 24 and I was just ready to try something new. So Jeannie mentored me and held my hand through the whole process. And I was able to open a business at 24 years old. And I had so many struggles because I was young. I had all of my academic debt still. I had no idea what I was doing in business, but she was there for me every step of the way. She took every tear-filled phone call. She came to visit my location, you know, as frequently as I asked her to. And she just really walked me through the process and encouraged me. And I'll never forget, every time I was really down, every time the struggle seemed too great, she would tell me, you have a lot of people supporting you, me especially. And so that was just one example of a leader who came into my life at a trying time and really led me through it and brought me to where I am today. And as I said before, I can't imagine doing anything different, because here we are 7 years later, and I still love it. I still love SpiderSmart. So she encouraged me to follow my heart. And even though it was difficult in the beginning, I really feel like I've ended up in the right place. And I wouldn't have done that without her guidance.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Talk about long-term mentor, right?
Yeah, yes, and to
Mentors
this
come and
day,
go. Yeah.
yes, she still mentors me to this day, and we have a really great relationship, and she's just a beautiful person.
That's fantastic.
Mhm.
Well, you gave an example of a change agent in your life, a conscious leader, a mentor, someone who showed a lot of love and compassion.
Mhm.
As you look at the folks in your community that are making a difference, who are out there community building every day and championing for all kinds of change, are there characteristics that you want to highlight that are just consistent?
I think that, as you said, empathy is a huge one, because I think that what makes somebody a great leader and a great agent of change is knowing how to motivate people. But in order to motivate people, you have to understand them and understand what's important to them. And empathy plays such a huge role in that. So I think having empathy for what people are going through in their lives, and compassion for them, and patience, ultimately those may not seem like characteristics that are action oriented, but I think they allow you to identify what will make someone successful
Mhm.
if you really understand them. Yeah.
That's great. So empathy. That's wonderful. Okay. Now let's talk about how you are utilizing your gifts, your talents, your life lessons, everything that you are, the package of you, to pay it forward into your community. Are there causes that matter to you? What are you doing out there that's creating positive ripple effects?
So I have had the opportunity to get involved with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and other avenues that encourage suicide prevention awareness in the community. Unfortunately, my little brother died by suicide in 2016. And it was such a huge, terrible change that happened in my life. And I went through a lot of difficulty following it. And I still do. Here we are almost 3 years later, have bad days because of this random, terrible thing that happened in my life. But um, things came into my life, into my path, after this happened. And one of them was the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And I began volunteering with them. And one of the first things that I did was take a training with them on how to facilitate a bereavement group for teenagers. And I did this because I was attending a bereavement group for myself. And I found myself kind of looking at other people in the group and thinking, you know, someone in your family has passed, whether by suicide or some other means. And, you know, you have children who need a place like this to go as well, but they're not here in the group. The group is for adults only. So I took a training on how to facilitate a group like that for teenagers. And I have started a group. It's called Suicide Bereavement for Teens. It's for teenagers aged 14 to 19 who have had a friend, a relative, an associate, or just someone in their community who's died by suicide and it's affecting their lives. And it's a group where people can come out and share their story, hear other people's stories, and just have an opportunity to say out loud what's happened to them and what they're going through. Because I've learned myself on my journey that it is important to say what happened. It is important to speak out loud what has happened to you. And so I've tried to begin a place where teenagers in particular can come and have a safe space to do that. So we meet every second Tuesday of the month at the Music Loft in Ashburn, and I can provide you with more information on that later. But that's one thing that's come into my life is with the death of my younger brother, what I've tried to do is spread awareness about suicide prevention, but also be a supporter for others who have gone through that type of loss.
Thank you so much for doing that work. I think over the years, we've heard more and more about it. In terms of suicide and, you know, the epidemic of it these days, but it's been around for a long time. Unfortunately, I lost my best friend to suicide, so I get it.
I'm very sorry to hear that. And like you said, it is an epidemic. It's actually the second leading cause of death for teenagers age 11 to 34 up to young adults in the state of Virginia. So it is a problem, and it has affected everyone's lives in one way or another. So it's something that touches everyone's life. Everyone has a personal connection to the mission somehow.
Well, I will definitely spread the word. So we will make sure that we have that link for folks to know that it exists and that you do meet the second Tuesday here in Virginia. Really, really think it's important work, and I appreciate you. And I'm also very sorry for your loss as well.
Thank you.
As you now think about the journey that you've been on, the good, the terrible, and we all have bad days. And I think healing is a lifelong journey. You know, my best friend has been gone for many, many years now, almost a decade, and it still hurts me.
Yes.
So, you know, you have those days. And so the question that I have for you is, when you do have those moments, because they come and then they go, what allows you to move forward? Is there a philosophy that you can share, or a motto or quote, so that those that are watching, they can hold on to it and maybe use that as their pillar of strength?
Yes. One thing that does give me strength in difficult times, and also in happy times, because I do still have great things in my life. As you know, there's still happiness to be had. But one kind of motto that I use is don't try to steer the river. And I think actually Deepak Chopra said that. And what it means to me is just that life will keep flowing no matter what you try to do. And maybe you shouldn't necessarily just completely surrender to everything that happens to you, but don't try to steer the river. Learn to flow with the events that happen in your life, because even something like a tragic loss of someone very dear to you, it doesn't have to stop the flow of everything in your life. Life will keep going. And there's still ways to find happiness and to keep moving, stay in motion, no matter what happens to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Miss Jessica.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
As you think of what a better world might look like, what would that look like through your eyes?
I think the first step is being open and allowing people to be open with you. And don't be afraid to share your story. Particularly with what we've been talking about with suicide, there is such a stigma. People don't want to talk about it. I didn't want to for a long time. I said my brother had an accident, but I've learned to be open. And I think that if we are all open and honest with each other about our lives, about the beautiful parts, but also the terrible parts, I think that will lead to a better world.
Yeah, it'll become less isolating.
Definitely. Yeah. We find connections in all ways, and not just over the positive things. And some of the most incredible friends I have in my life right now came out of my support group that I attend, because they were also going through something difficult, and we were honest with each other about it, and it allowed us to connect.
Again, thank you so much for all that you do, both in your professional space of being an entrepreneur and helping these brilliant, brilliant minds, in terms of their education, and then also the heart-centered work that comes from a very personal place for you. I know that it's not easy to do that work, and yet at the same time, it probably helps with the healing journey. So I commend you for that, and I appreciate you and all the people that you're impacting. Are there any final words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Well, I would just like to say thank you to you for helping me to get my story out there. And I've really enjoyed watching other stories of other people that you've interviewed. I think it's inspiring to share your passion project and to hear from other people about that. And I hope that I can inspire someone, but I also look forward to watching more of your interviews and just finding out how every individual has something to offer.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. We didn't know what this interview series would do to us personally, and we're so moved. We know that there are good people out in the world. We're
Yes.
so moved, though, by the different stories and the vantage points and all of the experiences collectively that really
Mhm.
help raise this level of connectedness that we so need right now,
Yeah,
right?
I
You
agree.
you are my sister. You saw somebody else's interview, and although it wasn't the same story, you understood that where their hearts were coming from, and there was a connection there. And that's the beauty of doing this and having the Nebula be a hub, but also so many other hubs similar to ours that are popping up because our world needs this. I need to look at you without even spending, more than 5 minutes with you and honoring who you are and making no assumptions of what you've gone through, but knowing that you've gone through stuff
Yeah.
and that we can see each other, we can love each other, we can appreciate each other, and help move everybody forward in our own personal development journey, healing journey, and collectively raise everybody up, which is so important right now. So, again, I appreciate you so much for that.
I couldn't agree more, and I appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. For those that are watching, we really appreciate you for following our Change Agent interview series. If you would like to nominate yourself, please do. And anybody else in your community who is creating some positive ripple effects and making a better world for all of us to live and to thrive, please visit nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com. Nominate yourself, and we look forward to featuring you and sharing your stories. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you very soon. Take care.